everyone, how are you? It's Casey. Welcome to another video. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about what I'm working on and what I'm experimenting with, but first I thought I would talk a little bit about safety when it comes to making custom Blythe dolls. So I will admit I have not been super safety conscious. I have not really used many of the recommended safety precautions and equipment when working on dolls, and that's mainly because I find most of them to be in the way or flat out just not working for me. However, recently I had some health issues. Well, I still have some health issues going on, and they have not been able to figure out what is wrong with me. And basically my main symptoms are being extremely tired, dizzy, and having some foggy brain, which could be a million different things. And so far they've done a bunch of tests and everything has come back that I'm very healthy. So anyway, it got me thinking about working on dolls and the dangers of working on them. So I decided to finally get a respirator face mask. So I will say, at least for myself, I don't make a lot of dolls, so it's not like I'm sitting here on a daily basis breathing anything in. When I do spray dolls, I do spray them outside and away from myself. I don't breathe in. So it's not that I've been completely not aware of it. I just have not worn any equipment. So I got this respirator mask. It came this week in the mail. I'll put a link to it below. I did not get it for its fabulous colors, although I love the colors. I got it because whenever I go to buy something that I know nothing about, I usually go to Amazon and read the reviews, or maybe not even Amazon, but just online to read reviews and sort of compare prices and things like that. And the reason I chose this one is because it had good reviews and it was reasonably priced. I feel like you don't need the most expensive equipment unless you're doing this full-time constantly. And I got it and I've used it and I actually really like it. I want to see if I can wear it while I'm doing a video. I'm just concerned that you won't be able to hear me. So I'm going to try it on and do a test and see if you can hear me. And if not, I might not wear it for the video. But I've been using it the past couple days, especially for the project that I'm working on, because it's really dusty. And so, which I'm going to show you in a minute. So I'll put a link to this one below. Obviously you can get whichever one you want. But if you like this one, I recommend it so far. It's very lightweight, which was kind of the main complaint that I've seen from people about having a respirator, is that they can be quite heavy and it's hard to work on them. I find this one to be pretty lightweight. It doesn't bother my face, and breathing in it does not feel like when you're wearing a mask and it makes you all hot and sweaty and recycled air. It feels good. It feels like you're breathing fresh air. So I do really like it for that reason. The other thing that we're going to talk about today is epoxy. I'm playing around with it and I'm going to show you that in a minute. I got some new epoxy in the super white. So I think in my last epoxy video I was talking about the fact that I had the epoxy in like a gray. It's not dark gray, but it's like a medium gray, and it was pretty hard to cover. I will be working on a doll that I might not mention too much about right now that I really need the white for. So I got this and I've been playing with it and I really like it so far. So highly recommend the white. However, this stuff is another safety issue. You are technically supposed to wear gloves when you use it. But what I've found is when I'm wearing gloves, it begins to stick. So you're supposed to wear like rubber gloves. And the gloves that I have were basically like medical gloves. So I don't know, I might go over to the store and see if I can find like maybe some cleaning gloves that are a little bit thicker plastic, because with the medical gloves, the plastic or the latex, whatever they are, is so thin that this stuff sticks to it, and it's really hard to work with it. Once you're applying this to whatever you're putting it on, you can barely smooth it out when you're wearing a glove. So I think I might just have the wrong gloves. So yesterday I ended up using it with my bare hands, and it hasn't bothered me. You can still see there's a little bit on my hands and in my fingernails, but I know I shouldn't be. And I know there are some people that have severe reactions to it when it touches their skin. So again, I feel like, you know, I'm not protecting myself. So it does say it may cause an allergic reaction or eye irritation. So that's another thing. If you're sanding it, which I'm doing, and you're using your respirator, so that's great for your lungs, but without wearing safety goggles, the dust could be getting in your eyes. So all of these things are a little bit frustrating because, again, like I said in the beginning, part of the reason that I haven't been protecting myself is not because I don't care about my health, but more because it's uncomfortable to work that way, or it's just impossible to do what you're trying to do. So anyway, I am going to continue looking for things that work, and I will share with you all as I find things that work as well as protect. So for today, we're not going to have goggles or gloves, but going forward, I'm hoping to check the store maybe later today or online and get something. So for now, I'm going to put this on, and hopefully I will be able to still speak and you'll be able to hear me. So let's see what it sounds like. So I don't know if you're going to be able to hear me very well. I think I will probably try to do a test. This video isn't going to be so much talking anyway. I'm going to kind of just tell you about the doll I'm working on and then have you watch. So I'm going to take the mask off for now and tell you about this doll, and then I'm going to just work like I do and have you guys watch without a lot of talking. And I hope that will make a good video for now. I'm not sure about the speaking part of working while trying to make a video with protection and all of that. Wouldn't it be nice if we didn't have to deal with protection? This doll has already been carved. I really did some deep carving on this doll. This doll was an Ashton Drake doll that I got in a trade. And if you know anything about the Ashton Drake dolls, they have a plastic dome that is attached to the doll. So the other type of Blythe doll looks like this, where you take the scalp off, the round top of the head. But the Ashton Drake dolls don't have that, and typically that's why I don't like working with them, because once you get that hair off, it's usually not usable because you have to glue it all the way back on, which is too much of a hassle for me. So the last time I did one of these, I gave her a wig and she was super cute. When I ordered that wig, I had ordered two because I wasn't sure what I wanted her to look like. So I have another wig, and when I got this doll, I planned on using it for her, but I didn't want to have, and I wish I had a photo to show you, and I might somewhere, what the head looked like before I put the epoxy on. But basically there's a ridge and a gap between the plastic part and the faceplate, And so if you put a wig over it, it potentially, unless you're really covering all the way down, looks funny. And so I thought I'm gonna try to use epoxy to fill in the head and make the head actually round. And so I put this epoxy on yesterday. I already started kind of playing with it, sanding it this morning, but I'm going to sand it so it's smooth and that there's no gap between the plate and the head. And then I'm planning to paint it to match the faceplate. So we'll see how that goes. Because as you know from my last videos with airbrushing, it's a little bit hard to match colors. So we'll see about the matte. I thought it would be a good sort of practice round to match paint to the head, because if it's not exact, it's not going to matter quite so much as the face, because the wig will cover most of it. In addition to that, I've been really playing around with the idea of doing something really different. So the Blythe market right now is a little bit shaky. Dolls are not selling for a lot of top artists very quickly. There's sort of a flood of inexpensive but really well done dolls. And so it's become a little bit harder to stand out. And so I really am trying to think of ways to push the boundaries and stand out a little bit more in the crowd. And one of the things that I've wanted to do with Blythe is really play around with proportions and different body types. So I've had in my mind for a while making like a toddler type doll with a much smaller body. So this is a midi body, and I have already applied some epoxy. I'm going to change the proportions, hopefully to look more like a toddler. So chubbier legs, chubbier arms, chubby belly. My Dremel ran out of juice yesterday when I started all this, so I'm going to be sanding down the breasts and putting more like chubby toddler boobs there. I'm going to be covering this entire body with epoxy. This was just what I had left over from doing the head yesterday. And it's hardened overnight, but it needs a lot more on there. So anyway, it's kind of ambitious. It makes me very nervous. I have no idea if it's going to work or not. But I really want to try something different that you're not seeing a lot of on the market, and mainly because I also like the idea. So that's where I'm at. I'm kind of at a part where I'm sanding, and I'm going to sand down the head more, the epoxy part of the head, and start sanding the body and adding more epoxy to it. So I'm probably not going to have the video run the whole time because it's a little bit hard for me to see with the video lighting, but I'll give you a little taste of what I'm working on, and then I'll update you on her progress. Hopefully next week. I'm hoping to get this doll done in the next week or so, because there's another doll I want to get done by the end of the month. So I hope you enjoy. I'll come back and say goodbye before signing off. So let me put this mask back on. So a couple of things to mention is I really am going to go and get goggles now. I'm not going to keep sanding on this head because you'll notice there's, I don't know if you can see, but there's a gap where I put a little bit too much epoxy on this side and not this side, and I want that line to be pretty flush. And so sanding it with the Dremel creates a cloud of this dust, and so I think it's probably very likely that it's getting in my eyes, and I definitely don't want that. So I'm not going to keep sanding that with the Dremel until I go and get goggles, and I think I'll just go now and get them because I want to work on this doll for the majority of the weekend. I've sanded now off the breasts of the doll, and what I'm going to do before I leave is add some epoxy, some more epoxy, so that hopefully the body pretty much has all the epoxy on it that I want it to have, because reminder that epoxy, let's see, what does it say on it? It says after 20 minutes it's formable. So you do have to mix the two together, and I will say that mixing them together was quite hard on my hands. So if you have arthritis or strength issues, this is probably not for you, or at least not in large quantities, because I was mixing probably balls about that size, so like maybe 2 inches or so across, and when you mix the two together, now you have a pretty big ball. My hands still hurt today just from the mixing, so it's not really very easy to mix it together. But once it's mixed together, like most clay, it gets easier, but it takes probably 10 to 15 minutes of hard mixing. So 20 minutes it's formable, in an hour it starts to set up, but in 24 hours it's hard, cured, and waterproof. So it's not something that you can work with very quickly. I usually make sure I let it cure for 24 hours before sanding it. So that's why I'm bringing it up, because I'm going to try to get all the epoxy that I want on the body on it, so that tomorrow I will be ready to sand and carve into the body and not have to wait for epoxy to dry. So I hope that makes sense what I'm saying. So I'm going to clean up my space so there's not a bunch of dust. I'm going to wash my hands, and I'll mix some epoxy and we'll apply it to the body, and I'll just give you a little taste of what that's like. And then I'm going to go to the store for more protective gear. All right, so basically I got this spoon for myself because it's pretty hard to get into. You're going to want to take equal parts of each of these. I don't know how much we're going to need. It's kind of like you don't want to do too much, because then you kind of have to waste it unless you're going to use it, because it will harden. But if you don't have enough, then you have to mix all over again, and that is not fun. So I think that probably is going to be enough, which is a lot less than I used yesterday. But you want to make sure that the amount is about the same, which it looks pretty good. And then once you do that, then you put them together. And then you have to mix and mix and mix. And like I said, it's pretty hard. I don't know if there's an easier way. Maybe there is, and I just don't know what it is. But so let's mix. You'll know when you have it mixed well because it will be white and not gray anymore. So the nice thing about epoxy, when you're applying it, you don't have to be super exact, because it's carvable and sandable. So the next day, you know, if you put too much in one area of the doll, you can just sand it off, which is what I really like about it. It's not like where you're sculpting something that needs to be exact. So you fix it the next day, basically. So let's start applying where we want it. So I want this doll to have chubby proportions. So I really want, like, toddlers have like little boobs. And there is a point where it's a little bit sticky and it's hard to get it to stick to the plastic. And I have it now on my hands. I'm gonna go wash my hands one more time because it's sticking to my hands. All right. So I think we're gonna start with this upper body, and I'm gonna try to get this done as quickly as possible because I think it's bothering my hands. And again, it doesn't have to be completely smoothed out because you can sand it the next day. I think my phone turned off. I think I'm running out of room on it, so I don't know what was missed, but basically I'm probably gonna end the video there anyway, because I just kind of wanted to give you a taste of what I'm working on, and I need some more light to see what I'm doing. So anyway, I will keep you guys all posted on this new doll and this new style, as well as the new equipment I get for safety. If you have any questions or recommendations, please put it in the comments below. Thanks as always so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. I still have quite a few visitors who are not subscribers, so please, if you like my videos, please subscribe, and we'll see you all again next week. Bye!